best thing that I want us to do is start off taking a look at an embryo in a sagittal section. So first thing to recognize when you're taking a look here at this little baby embryo, this is going to be your cranial end, and this down here is going to be the caudal or the tail end, right? So that's the first thing that you need to know. Now up in the cranial end, you're going to have this kind of like little interesting, almost gill-like looking structure within the embryo, right about here, right? And that's called your pharyngeal apparatus. You know what's really cool is if we take a slice, imagine I take and I make a slice down this pharyngeal apparatus like this, and then open it up and take a look at it. Looky what that pharyngeal apparatus is going to look like. This is the structure that you'll get. So the first thing here is, you see where we have this green layer, which is your endoderm layer, and then this blue layer, which is your ectoderm layer. You see where they meet right here, where they kind of like connect? That right there is called your buccopharyngeal membrane. All right, so that's going to become the mouth. So whenever that kind of busts open, it's going to give way to the mouth. Now, there's a couple different components of the pharyngeal apparatus. The first one is this kind of blue layer here, this like nice little beautiful layer here of blue on the outer parts. This right here is called your pharyngeal. Particularly, you see like these little divots in here? These little divots in the pharyngeal apparatus right here? That is going to be giving way to what's called your pharyngeal clefts, or sometimes it's even referred to as your pharyngeal groove. So it's called your pharyngeal clefts, or the pharyngeal groove. Now the big thing to remember about these pharyngeal clefts is that they are covered with ectoderm. And now we're not going to really focus too much on these pharyngeal clefts, okay? Because they don't really give way to anything really special. Except for the first one, it can give way to like some of the tissue that lines the external ear canal. But other than that, nothing else really specific about it. The next one is this inner kind of like red layer. This inner red layer is a mesoderm core. And this is kind of what gives way to the big structure called the pharyngeal arches. Okay, so these are your pharyngeal arch. And this is kind of a core of mesoderm, which is a beautiful little like mesenchymal tissue. Okay? The last part of this pharyngeal apparatus is the most inner portion. And you see how there's these little divots here, right here, another little divot here, another little divot here. These little divots here are very specific and very special little structures that give way to a lot of different things. And this is called your pharyngeal pouches. So these are called your pharyngeal pouches. Okay? So that's really, really, really important. And again, what I want you to remember from this is that those good old pharyngeal pouches are made up of endoderm. Now, the next thing I want us to do here is I want us to basically kind of set a guideline of what we're going to be talking about throughout this video. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the pharyngeal pouches, right? What they become, pharyngeal arches, what they become, and then pharyngeal clefts and what they become. All right, so really quickly, I want to give you guys just a basic understanding of what the pharyngeal pouches, pharyngeal arches, and pharyngeal clefts will become, okay, tissue-wise. Let's just be very vague here. So the pharyngeal cleft is the first one here. The pharyngeal clefts, remember we said, are basically ectoderm, right? And again, we can call them like grooves as well. The only one that you need to know here is this first one, this first little pharyngeal cleft. But pretty much what this will become is epithelium. So remember, it is ectoderm, but that ectoderm is going to give way to epithelium. And really what it's going to do is it's going to cover a particular area. And the first one covers the actual lining of the external ear canal. So if you really want to remember it, the first cleft actually gives way to the lining the external ear canal. That's really kind of all I want you to know about the pharyngeal cleft. Other than that, nothing really specific to it. The big mama, what's going to account for pretty much most of this actual lecture, is going to be these good old pharyngeal arches. They're the pain and the noggin. And these things are a nice little mesoderm. And the reason why is way to connective tissue. And we talk about connective tissue, that